17 years later, the doors of Runway are opening again. The heels are clicking, the phones are ringing, and Miranda Priestly is about to walk back into our lives. But this time, everything has changed. Andy Sachs is no longer the nervous assistant who could barely survive a single day in that office. And when these two women meet again, it won't be about coffee orders. It will be about power. The news hit like a flashbulb on the red carpet. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is officially happening. And yes, the release date has been confirmed for May 1st, 2026. After years of rumors, quiet talks, and endless fan theories, the sequel is finally real. The fashion world on screen is coming back, and so are the two women who made it unforgettable. Andy Sachs and Miranda Priestly. When the first film came out in 2006, no one expected it to become a cultural moment. It wasn't just a movie about clothes. It was about ambition. It was about survival. It was about finding your voice in a world that tries to shape you. Miranda became one of the most powerful characters in modern film history. Calm, cold, sharp, every word she spoke carried weight. And Andy was the heart of the story, the girl who walked into Runway not knowing anything about fashion, but left knowing exactly who she was. Now imagine them meeting again. Almost 2 decades later, the confirmation of the sequel has already set social media on fire. Fans are asking the same question: what could possibly bring Andy back into Miranda's world? At the end of the first film, Andy chose herself. She walked away from Runway. She walked away from Miranda, and that choice defined her. So why return? Now, that's what makes this sequel so exciting. This time, the fashion industry isn't what it used to be. Print magazines are struggling. Digital media runs everything. Trends change in seconds. Power doesn't sit in one office anymore. It lives online. And Miranda Priestly built her empire in a very different time. If Runway is fighting to survive in 2026, then Miranda isn't just managing fashion. She's fighting to stay relevant. And then there's Andy. She is no longer the assistant. She is no longer unsure. If she steps back into this world, she won't be standing behind Miranda's desk. She might be sitting across from it. The runway is ready. The rivalry is waiting. And May 1st, 2026 might not just be a movie release date. It might be the return of one of the most powerful duos in film history. Time changes people. And after 17 years, Andy Sachs and Miranda Priestly are not the same women we once knew. When we last saw Andy, she had chosen a different path. She walked away from Runway, away from the pressure, the late nights, and the impossible standards. She chose real journalism. She chose balance, but ambition does not disappear. It grows. And it's hard to believe that someone who survived Miranda Priestly would settle for anything small. Over the years, Andy likely built a strong career in media. Maybe she became a respected editor. Maybe she created her own platform. In a world now ruled by digital voices, Andy could be leading something powerful, something modern, fast, and global. And that's where the tension begins. Because while Andy may have grown in the digital world, Miranda built her power in print. Runway was once untouchable. Designers waited for her approval. Careers were made or destroyed with a single look. But the fashion industry in 2026 is not the same as it was in 2006. Magazines are shrinking. Online creators shape trends overnight. The old rules don't work anymore. Imagine Miranda facing this new reality for the first time. She may not be the only voice that matters. And what if Andy represents everything that replaced the old system? What if she now stands as a leader? In the new fashion media world, faster, smarter, more connected to the public, that would turn their old relationship upside down. Years ago, Andy needed Miranda's approval. Now, Miranda might need something from Andy. That shift changes everything. And then there's Emily, once the loyal, sharp-tongued assistant who lived for Fashion Week. She could now be a major player in the industry. Perhaps she stayed close to Miranda. Or maybe she built her own space in luxury branding. Either way, the power circle has changed. This sequel won't just show us where they are now. It will show us who they have become. And when strong women grow in different directions, their next meeting is never simple. So what is The Devil Wears Prada 2 really about? This can't just be another story about fashion shows and designer dresses. The world is different now. The stakes have to be bigger, more personal, more intense. Picture this: Runway magazine is in trouble. Sales are down, advertisers are pulling away. The younger generation doesn't wait for a monthly issue anymore. They scroll, they stream, they follow influencers who post trends in real time. The power that once lived in Miranda's office now lives in millions of phones. For the first time, Miranda Priestly is not fully in control. She has ruled fashion for decades with calm confidence. She never raised her voice. She never rushed. The world moved for her, but now the world is moving too fast. And even Miranda can't ignore that change. This is where Andy steps back into the picture. What if Andy now runs a major digital media company? A platform that shapes culture overnight? A space where designers beg for features? A place where trends are born before they ever reach a runway? If that's true, then Andy holds something Miranda desperately needs: relevance. But this wouldn't just be business. Their history is complicated. Miranda pushed Andy to her limits. She broke her down and built her back up. She taught her strength, even if it came with pain. Deep down, there was always respect between them. But respect doesn't erase the past. Now imagine them sitting across from each other in a glass office. No coffee orders, no assistant desk, just two powerful women negotiating. Maybe Miranda needs a partnership. Maybe a buyout is on the table. Or maybe they are competing for the same investors. This sequel could become a battle of legacy versus innovation. Miranda represents tradition, control, authority. Andy represents change, speed, connection. And the real question isn't who is stronger. It's who understands the future better. Because in fashion and in power, the one who adapts survives. This sequel is more than just a return to stylish outfits and sharp one-liners. It comes at a time when the world itself has changed. Careers look different. Power looks different. Even success looks different. And that's why this story matters now. In 2006, The Devil Wears Prada was about survival in a tough workplace. It showed the cost of ambition. It asked a simple question: how much of yourself are you willing to give up to succeed? Today, that question feels even more real. Work moves faster. Pressure feels heavier. And finding balance is harder than ever. Seeing Andy and Miranda again isn't just about nostalgia, it's about growth. Andy once walked away to protect who she was. Now, we may see what that choice built for her. Miranda once stood at the top without fear. Now we may see how she handles a world that no longer waits for anyone. The sequel could show us that strength has many forms. Sometimes it's quiet control. Sometimes it's bold change. And when May 1st, 2026 arrives, it won't just mark the return of Runway. It will mark a new chapter in a story about power, identity, and reinvention. The real question is no longer whether Andy can survive Miranda. It's whether both of them can survive the future.